Time for a rant about Paradise once again. Yes, and here's the thing. I did a rant on the premiere of this show earlier this year, and I said it's got to be one of my favorite new shows of this year. And here's the thing. I looked at how many people actually watched that, and not a lot of people did. And this isn't going to be a complaint on that, because I understand, yeah, not a lot of people watch my content. I get it. But here's the thing. Why was it that when I did something about Severance, a lot of people commented on that and a lot of people watched it? And yet nobody is really talking about this show. I don't get why. This show is one of the most high concept show that I know right now. And I can tell, or at least I hope, that there is a long-term plan for this show. Because the season ended pretty dynamically. Not sure if that's a word, but you hear what I'm saying here. I like the way this ended. I like where this show is going. And I'm going to get into some spoilers here for this. And before I get to the spoilers, I'm going to say, if you have not watched the pilot for Paradise, oh my gosh, stop this thing now. Hit favorites first. Stop this thing now. And then hit pause here and then watch it. Because it has one of the greatest reveals I think I've ever seen in like any television or movie. Anyway, so basically Paradise has the premise that essentially the world has gone bad due to environmental damage. However, the government was able to see that this was going to happen, so they took the precaution of building this giant city under a mountain, and they basically dug it all out and stuff like that. And then they settled it. Now, so essentially everybody knows that the other, however percentage of the world, I'm assuming they're the 99.9999 is all dead, or at least that's what we are led to assume at the beginning of this show. We've been told throughout the season that there was an expedition to go out and see what the world is like. There were 4 people that were sent out, and they never came back. And we discover why they never came back. Because the person who is really in charge of Paradise, a person that we see, a lady whose name is Sinatra, who's kind of the villain of the show, the one who was kind of instrumental in building Paradise in the first place, and pretty much made it there so all her strings are there. So she's manipulating pretty much everything that's in Paradise. Anyway, so apparently she didn't like the reports that there is actually life and there are people out there. So basically she arranged to kill the messenger. And then after that, it was arranged that one of her assassins killed this guy, and which was kind of a shame. I think his name was Billy and stuff like that. It was kind of, one thing Paradise has no shortage of is gut punches. There are a lot of them. And not only gut punches, there are a lot of things that's like, well, I didn't see that coming, and it happens. Now, does Paradise do that? I didn't see that coming for the sake of I didn't see that coming? I'm hoping the writing is a lot tighter than that. I don't know if this show has a long-term plan. It feels like a show that really you need to draw out like what you think is going to happen and just end the season here, and then you go to this, and then you take the show to this level. And it feels like the show kind of has that. This show was created by the same guy who did This Is Us, which was a show that I don't really think had a long-term plan, but it knew what really needed to happen to the family that it was telling in its story. With Paradise, I feel like the story is, this feels like a story that actually is more about like what happens when the 1% just basically decides to take over. This is what I think that this is really happening in this story. I actually had a theory going that there was really nothing wrong with the outside world at all, and that the rich just wanted to get all their billionaire friends together and then just kind of restart the world. Kind of like a similar plot that was in the film Kingsman, the Secret Service. But in this case, there was definite environmental damage. There were things that were going on, and there were catastrophic floods. And I actually think the finale of season 1 isn't really one of the better episodes, but I think the episode before it, which I think is called The Day, is actually one of the better episodes, and really is because a lot of shows do this now, where they start their show here, but they devote one episode where they discuss stuff that happened here. You hear what I'm saying? Basically, that's what they did on that episode, The Day, where essentially you see what happened when all the environmental damage was happening all at once, and there was a major flood. And that was a super good episode because the president basically just goes on, seriously, he goes live and basically just says, "This is it, people." And I honestly kind of thought that was, there's something both awesome and not awesome about that at the same time. And they also showed what happened to the main character's wife. Now, the main character, who's played by Sterling K. Brown, who also is from This Is Us, does a fantastic job in the show as we learn, because this is one of those shows that starts out where the president is dead, so anytime we really see him in the show, it's mostly a flashback. So James Marsden, who plays the president, is seen on the show and is pretty much a cast member. So after The Day happens, we were told that James Marsden did something where he apparently set off an EMP, so any nuclear bombs wouldn't work, because at the time when they were all going to paradise, nuclear bombs were being launched. And here's the thing, even the show doesn't really have a good explanation as far as why this is happening. But it is happening. It's the end of the world, so they're all going to this city. And so that's where it kind of gets really interesting. And we also discover that Xavier Collins' wife, who he believed was dead, and he blamed the president for her death, or at least her not getting to paradise in time, but she's actually alive. So what we see, essentially all this leading up to in paradise, is that Xavier Collins realizes that Sinatra has been lying to these people, that there is in fact life out there, and that but the problem is Sinatra really wants to try her darndest to keep people in there. Now, this leads to a very final confrontation between Collins and Sinatra, where basically Sinatra has to reveal to him that, yeah, your wife is alive, she's still out there, and if you keep me alive, I'll make sure you get to her safely. She does those kind of deals. So naturally, he's not really going to pass that up, but at the same time, he's very curious about what happened outside. So basically, this finale of season 1 ends with Xavier Collins jumping on a plane, because they have all these planes kind of parked in paradise, because what else are they going to do with them after they land them? And he's just sort of takes off, and here's the thing. I didn't even know he could even fly a plane, honestly, but I guess it made sense. I actually think it was established that his father was a pilot. I think he was going to be a pilot. So, okay, so I'll give him that. There are times where you're watching a show and you kind of go like, oh, well, they just kind of do that now? And yeah, this is one of those times where I just kind of went, oh, I guess they're just kind of doing that now. We've also discovered a few secrets on this show about apparently the president left behind some information before he died about the secrets of paradise and what's outside of paradise. And we also discover who killed the president, and it turns out to be this librarian guy. This librarian guy was apparently a foreman when paradise was being built, so he knew about it, and he tried to assassinate the president. That happened on the first episode, and I'm going like, oh, that's the same guy. And then he was thrown in prison, so he managed to sneak his way on board, and then he managed to be a librarian there. But as the moment he saw the president, apparently all the hatred of him comes back to him, and then he tries to kill him. And I thought, no. I kind of went like, I'm not really buying that. You're kind of like, there wasn't really enough clues for us to solve that, even though that I don't really think we even saw the assassin before this happened. So I'm going to go like, nah, I didn't really like that plot twist. But this show I really like, and I really hope it comes back soon. I hope they don't wait too long to make its next season like a lot of shows do. Anyway, this is Mark from the Geek Church, signing off.